You ever wonder how you get all the power and sophistication of a massive enterprise B2B sales engine, but, without that massive enterprise level budget? It's the classic challenge, right? You need to scale, you need to be super efficient, but you can't just throw $1 million at some old school system. Well, let's dive into a really brilliant blueprint that shows you exactly how to build that powerhouse system. So, this is the big question we're going to tackle. How do you actually build that smart, automated machine that the big guys have, but using tools that are actually accessible? Is it even possible to play in that league without completely breaking the bank? Well, the answer is a huge yes. But it takes a very specific and a very strategic approach. And that approach, well, it's called a composable architecture. Sounds fancy, but the idea is simple. Instead of one giant, clunky piece of software, you assemble a dream team of best-in-class players. Think WooCommerce for your e-commerce, Copper for your CRM, Square for in-person sales, and Google AI to make the whole thing smart. The real magic is in how you weave them all together to create a single, powerful, and totally unified system. Okay, so first things first, let's break down the parts of this blueprint that are just brilliant, right out of the box. We've got to understand the genius of this initial setup and exactly why it works so well from day one. Now, this right here is the absolute core strategic decision, embedding the Copper CRM directly inside of Google Workspace. You know the old way, right? Your sales team is constantly jumping between their email and some clunky CRM, which means nobody ever actually uses the CRM. But here, the CRM lives inside your Gmail. It's this beautiful symbiosis that just eliminates all that friction. And it means all your data, every email, every document, is automatically captured and ready for an AI to actually work with. And when we talk about AI, we're not talking about some silly chatbot. This is about practical, grounded AI. What you do is you feed a tool like Google's Notebook LM all of your internal documents, your complicated price lists, your dense shipping policies, and you create an AI sales assistant that gives accurate answers with zero hallucinations. All of a sudden, you have an AI that doesn't guess, it knows. It becomes this super reliable expert your team can count on every single time. This is such a crucial insight. Your B2B buyers, they are not retail shoppers. They absolutely hate scrolling through pretty pages. You know what they value most? Their time. So by building tools like super fast, AJX-powered bulk order forms, you're literally treating efficiency as a key feature of your product. That focus on speed, that is why they'll keep coming back to you. You want to see the sign of a truly mature sales process? Here it is. Look, the real money in wholesale isn't on the first order. It's on the 50th. So by creating a totally separate, dedicated onboarding pipeline in your CRM, you make sure that new customers feel supported after that first sale. It stops them from feeling abandoned, and it is the absolute key to building massive customer lifetime value. All right, but let's be real, no system is perfect, especially when you start to really grow. In fact, success, well, it creates its own set of problems. So now, let's put on our detective hats and identify the hidden cracks that always start to show up when this brilliant system starts handling enterprise-level volume. And boom, here is the first major bottleneck, using a retail tool like Square as your master record for inventory. Now, Square's great for selling one unit at a time, but in the wholesale world, you're buying a pallet, you're stocking it as 24 cases, and then you're selling it as 288 individual units. Square just was not built to handle that kind of complex unit of measure conversion. And trust me, it will eventually break your entire operation. Next up, we have what I like to call the Zapier trap. Now, Zapier is an amazing tool for simple one-to-one automations, but the minute you start using it as the central nervous system for complex, multi-item B2B orders, it becomes fragile and unbelievably expensive. See, to really get the trap, you have to look at how Zapier's pricing works. A single wholesale order could have, say, 100 different items on it. Because Zapier can't easily handle that whole list of items at once, it has to run a separate task for every single one. All of a sudden, one order costs you over 100 tasks, and your monthly automation bill just goes straight through the roof. All right, take a look at this number. $580. What do you think that represents? It's not the cost of the goods. It's not the shipping. That number is the amount of pure profit you are losing to credit card fees on just one $20,000 wholesale order. When you use a retail payment processor like Square, you're paying around 2.9% on every transaction. Wholesale margins are just way too thin for that. When you start to scale, This will absolutely destroy your profitability. Okay, so we found the cracks. Now for the fun part, forging a truly enterprise-grade stack with some strategic, bulletproof upgrades. This is how we take that brilliant blueprint and make it ready for massive, massive scale. The very first move is you swap out your automation engine. Just look at this comparison. For these complex B2B orders, Make.com is just vastly superior to Zapier. It handles those lists of line items, arrays, natively, which makes it super cost-effective. It has robust error handling, so if something fails, it can actually retry and alert you instead of just failing silently. It's a true enterprise upgrade, plain and simple. Okay, next we start to strategically layer in the missing enterprise pieces. So you solve that inventory nightmare by centralizing it in a real inventory management system, an IMS. You fix the margin problem by using a proper B2B payment gateway that offers ACH and wire transfers. Then you automate tax compliance, you accelerate your site search with a tool like Algolia, and you properly handle your finance and freight. Each one of these solves a specific scaling pain we just talked about. So what's the end result of all these upgrades? What do you get?
Well, it's not just a collection of tools anymore. It's a single, unified, intelligent interface for your entire B2B operation.
And this really just breaks down the end state perfectly. Each platform now has a crystal clear strategic responsibility. WooCommerce is handling the transactions. Copper is managing the customer relationship. Square becomes the source of truth for your inventory and handles any in-person sales. And the glue tying it all together? That's Google AI, acting as the intelligent agent that automates workflows and even starts to predict what your customers need. And that brings us to the final and most critical question you should be asking yourself about your own business. When you build a system this thoughtfully, technology stops being just another line item, another cost center. It actually transforms into your single most effective, most efficient, 24/7 sales engineer. So I'll ask you, which one is yours?